Hello, welcome. In today's video, we're going to cover the line layer. This is a part of the series that I'm doing or on the map. So if you see, this is my data. I have flight name and then I have airline, airline ID, etc. So I'm just gonna reload the data. There was some changes. So I have the airport ID, airport name, and then I have the destination airport name, source airport, destination airport. I'm gonna use the line. Okay, so let's just get started. I'm gonna add a line layer here this time, and as a ID, I'm going to use the flight name. The flight name is nothing just but airport source and destination along with the airline name. Okay, so and this one, so it we have two options. One called starting and ending point, and then there is a line geometry. We're gonna cover the line geometry later. We're gonna go with start and end point. So we have the destination and we have the source point. Okay, so we might have the source point longitude and latitude. We can use that. And if you see there are endpoint and start point have same everything. It can be different. For example, maybe endpoint might have longitude and latitude, but not the other way around. For this one, for the both we have actually airport IDs, name of the airport. So we're gonna use that. I'm gonna use source airport here, and I'm going to use destination airport. Qlik automatically recognizes the airports from their uh, IATA code. So if therefore, in order to remove any confusion, what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna change the scope. So the scope you can use to confirm that and remove any ambiguity. Maybe if you want to specify that it's a country, but normally these IATA codes are really different for each. They're international standards, so you don't need to worry about that in that particular case. But if it is something else, you might want to clarify what point it is. So if you can watch further point layer. In this one, I have described how you can use the scope location in more detail. For this one, I'm gonna say that it's an airport ID to make sure that there is no confusion at all, as well as I'm gonna change this one has air as well. We can specify the country as well. In this case, it's all over the globe, so I'm not going to do that, but we can use that. Okay, so that's defining the location. The next thing we have is the line width and style. So if you see, the line is very thick, so what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna change the width line so it can be dynamic as well, based on certain parameters. So for now, I'm gonna say that I'm gonna stick with this length. It seems like more appropriate. Let's just go over with 3. It seems more appropriate. And then we can make the line a little curved so that we have because destination and source, their flights are two ways. So curving it will make it more legible to read. So if there is more flights from one point to another point, it will be easier to read because of this curved thing. Okay, then we can have the arrow from source direction to the destination. So that means toward the destination is this powerful. And then where we want to put it, we want to put it in the center, or we want to put it toward the end. So I normally prefer to put toward the end because it is more appropriate. We can see exactly where the data is going on. Okay, so then the next option we have is color options. So in this one, normally I choose by dimension. So it shows, and I am going to choose, rather than the flight name, I'm going to use the airline name. Okay, so now I see which airline operates. So this is a very nice view actually. I can see this particular airline is concentrated, 3U is concentrated in this particular region. This airline is concentrated in this particular region. This one is concentrated in this particular region. So it kind of give us some idea as well. And then let's just change color palette to 100 because we have a lot of color airlines. So just so that every color airline is different from other. Okay, and then we can control the opacity, etc. I'm not gonna use that one. So sorting option, just plotting up. Normally when we are plotting lines, I don't think so that's anything we can do. So just let's go away with that. But just it's just whatever you have here will get plotted first. So there might be some requirement at times you to use that. So in options, if you see it says the maximum object length for 1000. But if I go to my data is 5,000 rows. So it means some of the points are missing. So I'm gonna turn that to 10,000. So let's see how that my data reacts to that. My plot area reacts to that. You see, okay, yeah. So a lot of data was missing. So I made the object more object. So it is there. I have the tooltip option. So to tooltip option, what it does is whenever I hover my mouse, so it shows me some information. So if I turn that off, it will not happen. So by default, normally we keep that open, and then we can have labels turned on and off. So if I turn on the label, by default that's a flight name. I can add, let's say I'm gonna add airline. You see there are a lot of points, so it's everything is, oh yeah, it's taking a lot of time. So this is too clumsy. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna remove this one show labels part. Or rather I'm gonna do that on a custom basis. One zoom level is too low, so let's say we are at this level of zoom, so that's okay. Otherwise don't show it. Okay, so we can enable or disable selection. This is a bit slow, and understandably, because there are a lot of points to be processed, and then flower line layer becomes problematic as well. So I'm gonna just go to 15 level. Okay, then we have the layer options here. Just like the other, we have show layer option. So if I just turn that off, I can see that in exploration menu. I can turn that on and off. And then we show zoom level. For now, I'm going to stick with everything, but we can control at what zoom level these layers should be shown or not. We can control that. Let's say if I say, okay, zoom level 3. So this is now, this line is going to only show if my zoom level is less than 3. Okay, so here we go. We are above 3. Yes, I think this is 0, 1, 2, and 2, and I think the next one is going to be 3. Here we go. So this is going to be like that. Okay, so the next thing is we have just saw that the maximum visible object. We discovered that how you can use that. We have the legends option. We want to show it or not. I'm gonna hide that for now because there's too many. So I'm just gonna go with the show tooltip option to if I want to see the name of anything. So I'm turning off the labels as well. Okay, so the zoom level we have done, and we can also, apart from the zoom level, we can show and hide this particular layer conditionally based on certain parameters. Maybe I want to see these paths if only one airport is selected, or one city is selected, or one airline is selected. So we can have things like that. So for now I'm gonna stick with nothing, but I'm gonna drop airline as a filter here, as well as source airport, and then I'm gonna add destination airport for the selections for the analysis part later on. Okay, so the next thing we have in these layer options of this particular layer is the tooltip. So the tooltip is like we can customize that, and tooltip is like whenever you hover your mouse, you see this details about like this one. So we can have these options. So let's just add a few options. So I can have title, which has formula. So I say it should be source, or rather we can have that in my year. So in my year I'm gonna use only clause here, and I'm gonna use source airport, and I'm going to call it origin, and then I'm gonna add another my here. I'm gonna use only again as destination airport, and I'm gonna call it destination. Okay, and we can add charts as well as images. If you are further interested in details of the tooltip, you can just watch this video. I am sharing this link in the description, where we have in detail covered the tooltips, what good tooltips can do. So for now, I'm gonna stick with this one. Okay, so you see, I have the airline and origin and the destination for these airlines, for these flights and routes. Okay, so if I do my analysis now a little bit, so let's just select limited airport. So I'm gonna go with DXB, which is the Dubai airport, and a source airport. So I'm gonna see uh, how Dubai airport. By the way, these are not all the global routes, so we might be, we have the limited routes. So for this one, I'm gonna also select another airport, which is going to be a London Heathrow Airport. I think that is, it's not here. Let's see what we can have. Yeah, this one, London Heathrow Airport. So now we have two airports, flights originating in different direction. And if you see, I have a lot of cities where the flights are going. Since they are not all the routes, but we can see, different airlines going on different angle. And the reason for the selection is so that, whenever we do this changes, these changes takes little time, because there are a lot of points to be plotted. So I have just limited them off to make sure that we have a quick demo. I'm gonna show at the end everything. Okay, then we have the options for the map settings. We can change the type of the base map, and then we can have a Mercator or adaptive. So in case of adaptive, it is basically based on, the world is curved at the poles. So but it basically take the curves and convert that to a flat land. So this is the difference in them. And then we can have the language. So for example, if I zoom in here in Asia, so you will see, in case of auto, you're gonna see local languages here, but I can change that to English or local, um, and then I can change the units which appear here, and then I can change the selection type. And auto zoom means whenever I do a selection, it automatically going to zoom in for myself for the maximum exposure to the data that we have, that we are using. Okay, then we have in appearance section, we have general options, which are like titles, etc. And then we have alternate state. Then we have legends. So when we talk about the legends, so in legends we have this. We already have removed the legends, but if we haven't, we can change that. Their positions in here. And then in presentation layer, we have the styling options for these titles, where we can change their text, etc. Keep an eye on that. We are going. Qlik is going to add a new options in here as well soon. But you see, we have for the footnotes, everything. We have a different color options, font size, font type, etc. You can change that. And then we have the navigation options. The navigation option is this one, so we can zoom in from using this pan. This is a navigation pan, essentially we're turning that on and off. Then we can have a scale bar, which is this one. Then we can limit the zoom level, that maximum level at which can be zoomed on this map. We can zoom that. And then Also we can set the limit that at this, at certain, this is the limit. Beyond that, it should not be um, zooming in, so we can do that. And then this is the debug part, where it basically shows you some information, like resolution, current zoom level, etc. And then if there is anything, nothing, if there is an issue, it also shows that field name is not properly picked up, etc. It shows that information as well. And then we have the labels part, the background coloring. So we have the options for the dark labels, and we have the options for the light labels as well. Okay, so that is one point where we are in this one. We used the layers point from its, and this one we only have the options for, we would call bird distance. So this is bird distance or airplane distance for things going from one point to another. And we have the forward arrow, and yeah, this is a bit clumsy because of the nature of the data, but it is how it is. Unfortunately, nothing much can be done about it anyways. So now coming to, there is another way. So this one is the bird distance. So but at times the requirement comes, we want to map actually with the roads. So this is just from one point to another. But what if we want to map from one point to another point using the road network? So in this case, we need to have a route map. It's not, Qlik does not support out of box that we have one point, starting point, ending point. It gives you the route on the fly. But there are geo operations. I will cover that at the last, in the last videos of this particular series. But for now, I have created area, basically route plan here as well. This is my starting point, this is ending point, and using Qlik geo operations, I have created a line resolution. So it creates that line. So this one actually the second option that we're looking at. So let's just do that. I'm gonna add another map layer here. I'm gonna add a map layer, add a layer, map layer, and then in this one I'm gonna use actually this route table. So I'm gonna use route ID, and going to add as a new line layer. And in location, we need to have the line geometry. We are using line geometry, not the starting point, ending point. And we can choose, this one, this line resolution is actually the line. If you see, now we actually are going along the line. And in the width and style, I'm gonna decrease the width a little bit, and I'm gonna add the arrow as a forward arrow. And then in the color options, I'm going to color by dimension, and the dimension color should be route ID, so I can clearly see which route ID we are talking about. We have the 12 route ID, so it's okay for the 12 color palette. Sorting option we're going to use. And then in the legends, if you see, all these options are there as we have seen previously. In the tooltip, I'm gonna add a few options here. I'm gonna add distance, and then I'm gonna add duration. Okay, so now I see, let's make it bigger. So now I see I have this route, this for example route 3. Okay, let's just select the route 3. So I can see my route 3 going from this point to this point following the road. If I just zoom in, so you can see that it's actually following the road, and it's going in there. And I just have my mouse, it's saying this is the total distance, so around 1015 kilometers, and the duration is 5.3 k seconds. So I can change the measures here as well. So sorry, the display math, how it's going to show the numbers. So I know that it is a duration. So I can put that as a duration. So it's going to be okay, this is in terms of second. It's going to convert that in numbers. So this is just click internal valuation, how it is being done. So I'm gonna divide that by 14,400, so which is number of seconds in day. So let's see what it shows. Okay, now it's showing the 8 hours 50 seconds. This much time it's going to be taken by for to cover 105 kilometers, which makes sense because this is a long route. And similarly we have other route 10. If I just hover my mouse on this one, so this is again 7 hours, and we have 188 kilometers. I just need to confirm that this number of seconds that we have in a day, but you got the gist of it. Okay, so thank you very much for watching this video. Stay tuned. I will come with the new content. Share your comments, please.